한 주 동안 손흥민이 속해 있는 LAFC는 어떤 일들이 있었을까요? 총 정리를 전해드리는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 LAFC는 정규리그 마지막 경기에서 콜로라도와의 경기가 있었는데 이 경기의 결과에 따라서 순위가 변동될 수도 있었지만 LAFC는 아무것도 이뤄내지 못하면서 3위에 만족해야 했습니다. 손흥민이 합류한 이후에 6위에서 3위까지 올라온 것입니다. 같은 시간에 샌디에고의 경기가 있었는데 샌디에고가 패배를 해야만 결과에 따라서 LAFC의 순위가 2위가 될 수 있었던 건데 이미 샌디에고가 대승할 각이었고 경기 중에 메시의 헤드트릭 소식까지 들리면서 LAFC는 경기를 치를 명분이 사라지게 되었습니다. 전반전 졸전 중에 손흥민이 상대 수비를 멘붕에 빠뜨리는 슈팅으로 1대0으로 앞서 나갔지만 후반전에 요리스의 치명적인 실수로 동점과 역전까지 헌납하게 되었습니다. 부안가는 추가골도 기록하지 못하면서 득점 2위에 만족해야 했습니다. 콜로라도와의 최종 결과는 2대2. 손흥민은 이로써 총 12경기에서 10경기를 출전했고 9경기를 선발 출전하면서 9골 3도움을 기록하게 되었습니다. 손흥민은 미국 무대에 대활약을 하면서 공식적으로 신인왕 후보에 올라가게 되었습니다. 그리고 손흥민의 데뷔골이 올해의 골 후보에 올라있는 상황입니다. 더 많은 경기 출전과 골을 기록한 선수들도 있지만 미국의 스포츠 엔터테인먼트의 위력을 발휘한다면 손흥민에게 몰아줄 수도 있을 것입니다. LAFC는 리그 3위로 마치면서 6위에 오른 오스틴 FC와 다음 주 목요일 그러니까 10월 30일에 LAFC 홈에서 1차전을 치르게 됩니다. 기록으로는 LAFC는 올 시즌 오스틴을 한 번도 이기지 못했습니다. 전반기에는 0대1 헤딩 결승골 헌납으로 패배, 후반기에도 0대1 헤딩 결승골 헌납으로 패배였습니다. 하지만 전문가들은 오스틴이 LAFC의 상대가 되지 못할 거라고 전망하고 있습니다. 최근 오스틴 감독 또한 지역지를 통해서 인터뷰를 했는데 우리가 오로지 생각하는 건 LAFC를 어떻게 이기느냐이다. 손흥민과 부안가가 함께 뛰는 경기에선 거의 모두 그들의 득점과 어시스트가 터진다. 아직 어떤 팀도 그들을 막지 못했다. 이는 얼마나 손흥민과 부안가가 뛰어난지 말해준다 라면서 두려워할 정도로 경계심을 드러냈습니다. 그러니까 이전 두 경기 LAFC가 한 골도 못 넣었을 때는 손흥민이 없었다는 것이고 손흥민이 합류한 후에 LAFC는 9월 가장 좋은 승률과 가장 많은 골을 기록했기 때문에 두려워할 만합니다. 그리고 이제 목요일에 8위와 9위의 싸움인 와일드카드 결정전이 있었는데 서부에서는 댈러스가 솔트레이크 시티와 붙었는데 댈러스가 승리하게 되면서 댈러스와 밴쿠버의 대결이 완성되었습니다. 그래도 와일드카드 경기에 관심을 가져야 하는 이유는 LAFC가 4강에 오를 시에 이 두 팀 중에 승리한 팀과 붙기 때문입니다. 하지만 아직 김치국부터 마시면 안 됩니다. MBC부터 ESPN, CBS 등 미국 방송에서도 연일 이번 시즌 우승할 팀에 관심을 갖고 있는데 어떤 방송에서는 LAFC를 우승 후보 1순위라고 하고 어떤 방송에서는 LAFC를 랭킹 5위로 평가하기도 했습니다. 더 수준 높은 팀도 있다는 거죠. 손흥민은 미국뿐만 아니라 유럽에서 지금도 많은 관심을 갖고 있습니다. 손흥민의 계약서에 미국 시즌을 마치고 유럽으로 잠시 임대로 다녀올 수 있는 베컴 조항이 손흥민도 있다고 전해지면서 임대설이 불거졌는데 토트넘뿐만 아니라 바이에른 뮌헨, AC 밀란에서도 영입설이 있다는 보도가 있었습니다. 하지만 어디까지나 찌라시라고 보여집니다. 손흥민이 기계도 아니고 그러다 월드컵에 더 악영향을 끼치게 되죠. 그리고 간다고 해도 토트넘이지 뮌헨이나 밀란을 선택할 리도 없을 것입니다. 최근 토트넘 CEO가 직접 발표하길 토트넘 레전드의 동상 세우기 프로젝트를 직접 언급하면서 현지 팬들이 일제히 손흥민 동상이 빨리 세워지길 바라면서 실제로 곧 동상이 만들어질 분위기입니다. 최근 토트넘은 겨우겨우 무승부로 버티는 경기들을 치르면서 한 기자가 토트넘 문제점을 지적하듯이 손흥민이 없어서 그런 거냐고 물었는데 프랭크 감독이 인정하기도 했습니다. 토트넘의 공격이 특히 왼쪽이 매우 헐거운 상황이거든요. 덩달아서 쿠두스까지 부진하고 있습니다. MLS는 올 시즌을 평가하니까 주당 평균 370만 명의 라이브 경기 시청자를 확보했고 2024년 대비해 29% 증가했다고 합니다. 2025년에는 티켓 판매 수익이 역대 최고치를 기록했고 경기당 평균 2만 명 이상의 팬을 보유한 클럽이 19개였고 전 세계 다른 어떤 축구 리그보다 평균 홈경기 관중 2만 명 이상 기록한 클럽 숫자가 많았다고 발표했습니다. 그리고 월드컵을 앞두고 전례 없는 인재들 확보로 메시와 손흥민 같은 스타들이 리그 위상을 높이고 있다고 평가했습니다. 그러면서 손흥민이 거론되었는데 손흥민이 8월에 합류한 이후에 LAFC의 원정 경기 관중 숫자도 16% 증가했다고 전했습니다. 지금은 시작에 불과하다고 볼 수 있죠. 네. 손흥민의 활약이 이제 더해질수록 미국 팬층도 더 늘어날 테니까요. 자, 그럼 이제 지금부터는 한 주 동안 미국 방송과 팟캐스트 등 해외 전문가들의 손흥민과 LAFC에 대해서 무슨 얘기를 했는지 함께 보시겠습니다.
With regards to Sonny, he had a goal. It was a fantastic goal, a combination with Denny Bouanga. He had a really, offensively, had a really nice play, combining with Mark Delgado in that first half. Again, Colorado's finding ways to collapse on him. And was it his best performance? No, but the fact that when you need it, when you're not getting that ball in the back of the net, he can turn and face goal and slam it in there. That is very comforting. That is very comforting, and that's not going to be an isolated incident by any means.
Yeah, I would, because of his elite reputation, both on and off the field. You and I were lucky enough. We did the Inter Miami game a couple weeks back, and we were talking about Rodrigo de Paul and Alba and Busquets and Messi, and Luis Suarez wasn't really a factor, but you and I pointed out that he was a really big factor. And that's because the defenders always had to be concerned about where he was. And that's when I look at, and I literally wrote this down, but LAFC had 5 in the box and Denny and Sonny weren't in the box.
Yeah.
There's these like little visual data points that and this maybe it's me coming as a former center back, thinking about how I would even try to slow these guys down in the modern game at the peak of my career. And yeah, I'd give them the thumb in the kidneys and I'd bump them off the ball and I do flying tacos the back of the neck. I do all the physical stuff, but I'm constantly thinking about the amount of their movement. You have to have so much general awareness and communication. And you look at Maxo and you look at Holding and how much difficulty they had because
really
Sonny and defenders, they're just going like this the whole time. They're checking back, they're pulling in. I would feel much more comfortable as a defender with a big guy that I can put a hand on and I can feel where he's going, as opposed to 2 big guys that can run like the wind in any second. And then to my point, you got Danny and Sonny outside the 18-yard box, and you have multiple guys collapsing. You had Delgado in the box. You had Tillman in the box. You got Palencia in the box. You had Hollingshead in the box. You have all these secondary guys that are death-defying runs for any opponent. So my point being is that the one thing with Sonny and Denny that doesn't come up in goals and assists and touches and all that stuff is just the threat. And I don't know how to really accommodate something like that, but I can tell you, if you were on the field and you were dealing with this, it's their threat of just being on the field will cause so much anxiety for the shape. And I think that's one of the reasons why in that first half, Colorado played such an effective low block, was because they were so scared of getting stretched and understanding with one good through ball, which is Denny's ball, that plays Sonny, that burst past Maxo, that cuts the step overs, that literally slams the ball off the side of Stefan's face to score that goal. That's why it happens. So there's just an overall effectiveness. When we talk about, how effective was he? His presence alone is 1A on the effectiveness category.
Keep in mind also, we've gone through so many MLS Cup playoffs. They are built on chaos. Mistakes happen. And it's going to happen to LAFC opponents. And LAFC fans should feel very, very comfortable that they have Son Heung-min and Denny Bouanga, who clearly can take advantage of mistakes as good as anybody outside of Lionel Messi. And maybe we've seen in San Diego, but they are at the top of the class. And the rest of the team is coming around here to assist in those moments. It's going to happen. Mark my words, and LAFC will take advantage.
I thought we were going to make it up a little higher on the Western Conference list, but you know what? We stayed in third place, so we're going to break that down. Was not the game that we expected against Colorado or the game that we were expected. I always say that we just don't play well against Colorado, but the game that was most frustrating was the one against Austin. And we got to talk about it because that is who we are going to play our first playoff game against.
Yeah, you look at it, and if they had won these last two games, they'd be first spot in the Western Conference, control their own destiny. You would have had to go through BMO to win the Western Conference. That's how it would have went through, right? And now I'm not really worried about them beating Austin. I think they will beat Austin, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. I think they'll be fine. They've lost two games this year to them, they haven't beaten them this year, but that's without Son Heung-min, so I really wouldn't put too much stock into that. But the scary thing is that they have a really good chance that they're going to face Vancouver in the semifinals. So they're going to probably have the toughest opponent in the playoffs that you can possibly face in the next round, not even the final. So it's just disappointing because if they had finished in the first place, they wouldn't have had to play them until the Western Conference final if it got to that point for Vancouver. So it just feels like a missed opportunity. It feels like a missed opportunity. And even without their star players, they should have beaten Austin.
Yeah, they should have. And not having star players, to Will's point, we haven't played Austin with Son being on part of this team. And so I think that's going to be definitely something that's going to make a difference in the playoffs, Andrew. I mean, I remember in the middle of the season, we were sitting in 6th and 5th, fluctuating back and forth, and we were really concerned at one point before we even got Son. But what we did get to see is we got to see Mr. Sonny come back. He did end up bagging a goal that game. 9 goals for the time that he's been here, so he gets right back on track of scoring. What did you think about the goal when the one that he made in, Andrew?
I thought it was beautiful. It's poetic to watch what he does to defenders once they know they're going to get scored on. It is the biggest oh shit moment. Just to watch in people's mechanics and footwork on the field. Like, they don't know if he's going with his left foot or his right foot. They don't know if he's going to stop and pull up or speed past him. It's a beautiful thing to watch. With Bawanga with that assist too. Like, it was a beautiful play all the way around.
It almost was like it clicked. I'm not going to catch him, so let me try to make some assists, Will. And I did. I agree. I thought the assist was a really beautiful assist, but the goal just made the whole sequence a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I thought the goal was just clinical. Lefty, Sonny. It was like the goalkeeper spins, what I call it, because like the goalkeeper, it comes at him and they can't even believe it went in. Like, he like turns around to make sure, like, to check the back of the net and see if it went in. That's what Zach Steffen did after he shot it. Just because it was just, it was a pretty tough shot. I don't think most players are making that at that angle. It was just clinical for Son Heung-min. That's the positive, man, is just to see that after 2 games off, see them still have that little bit of chemistry. Like nothing is halted, but still, hopefully if for LAFC's sake that they can continue that and that they can play.
I definitely feel like Son has elevated him and the rest of the team to a different level. And I think the 6 games before they left, you've seen what Bawanga can really do with somebody that really, as we've talked about before, supports him and gives him that extra to really go after it. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried at all. What about you, Andrew? But this has been Son's first half of a season with LAFC. What do you guys take from his regular season for overall so far? I think it's 9 games that he ended up playing with LAFC. What do you think about the first 9 games? We're not talking about the playoffs, because whatever he does in the playoffs is going to be different from the regular season. But when you look back at these 9 games and you say, wow, he came in and he did all this, what do you take away from that, Andrew?
I think it's a home run. I think everything's been best case scenario from off the field to on the field. The 9 goals in 9 games, just to come in and not including his assists in the way he's helped with this team, I think it's been as good of a signing as could have gone for us. I couldn't be happier with that signing as of right now.
Let's just say when it's all said and done, he'll probably have 2 statues at the stadium. Maybe. I think he could.
How cool would that be? One on the outside, one on the inside?
Yeah, maybe one on the north side, one on the south side. But one of the things about him, too, it's impressive to me, is I think you could make an argument he's the best player in the league. Messi is right up there with him, but you have to think about this. Messi has had a team built around him. Messi says, I need this, I need that. We got to go get this guy. Son just plugged and played in this team. He didn't get to say, I want this guy. He hasn't picked his coach yet. So he's just kind of fit into he's just a puzzle piece or a cog in the machine right now. And the fact that he's been able to contribute like what he has. And also, too, I don't think enough people realize this. He's good enough to play as a striker or up top, but his natural position's on the wing. So he's not even really playing the position he's played the last decade for Tottenham, where he kind of, can play as that inverted winger and have take a shot or set guys up. He's been playing as like almost a true striker with LAFC. So I feel like if they can get a manager who can play him at his strengths, get better players around him, and get a system that fits his style, who the hell knows what this guy can do? I mean, this is the biggest signing in club history. And he's been worth every day. He's the record, by the way, most expensive signing in league history, worth every damn penny.
Says, don't compare Son with Messi. Well, they're going to hate what I'm about to say. I got to be honest with you, buddy, because I second that. I believe that it has been an absolute fantastic signing for LAFC and for MLS. And if we want to talk about stats and everything and what, look, Messi is going to go down as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I understand that. Okay. I really do. And we're not comparing him to prime Messi. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to idol, when it comes to icon status, there is an argument to say that Son has as many fans that follow him as Messi does. And I know that's about to freak some people out, and they're going to really probably nail me in the comments and tell me how much of an idiot I am. But just let me put this in perspective for you real quick. Son outsold LeBron James and Messi in jerseys, and that's only in the United States. They didn't even have it open in Korea. Had it been open in Korea, it would have been double to triple the amount that either one of those has sold. And I'm talking about Messi, and I'm talking about LeBron James. He would have sold 2 to 3 times the amount that them two have sold had they opened it up during the time that they were counting. When he came in the league, the kit dropped, but they didn't. They wanted to keep it close, and he still outsold those guys. That is what type of icon this guy really is when it comes to the Asian community, when it comes to what he is really bringing. So, yes, I understand. Don't compare the two because Messi has done a lot, and I'm with you. He's always been someone that I've said, man, he's an amazing player. But Son brought a lot. He truly did.
All right, let's take it to some other expectations coming this season, because as we well discussed MLS Cup playoffs, we're seeing the bracket here on the screen. San Diego still waiting their rival here in the first round between Portland and RSL. Of course, Minnesota and Seattle. LAFC against Austin FC on that side in round 1. Vancouver FC Dallas on the other side. Philadelphia still waiting. Chicago or Orlando on that's Orlando too. Charlotte against New York City FC. Inter Miami, as we said, against Nashville and FC Cincinnati versus
Cincy Columbus. That's tasty. First rounder.
Yes, it is a tasty dish to kick off our postseason for MLS. Sebi, who is the favorite to win MLS Cup? Inter Miami, San Diego, Vancouver Whitecaps, Philly Union, or LAFC?
Yeah, I mean, people can see the odds there on the screen. They probably think I'm chasing the value here, but I'm not. I think it's LAFC. I'm third right now in the West, and this basically for me is down to 2 dudes, Denny Bawanga and Heung-min Son. They have been incredible together, so good. I don't know, it's only been like 10 games for Son, but 43 goal involvements combined between those two. They're also coming in pretty hot. Of their last 8 games, they've only lost once. And they were putting up some big, crooked numbers in some of those games. 4 goals, 3 goals, just racking up goals left, right, and center. I also think maybe a little bit of an emotional play here. Steve Cherundolo getting ready to ride off into the sunset, maybe playing for their manager. Also a guy who, knows how to win MLS Cup. He
Last dance vibes.
3 years ago, exactly. I really think LAFC for me is not just the best value, but they're the team to pick here. I throw a word to Seattle. I think Seattle's a very, very good team that's always, worthy of consideration this late. It'll probably come down to Seattle, LAFC for me in the West. Ooh. And then, of course, you got to mention Inter Miami, out of the East. I just think this, they lack the coaching, and they are so vulnerable defensively. Again, Nashville, who's not some great team, could have had 3 or 4 goals in the opening half hour of that game. And that's pretty much every Inter Miami game you watch. And I don't think you can win it all with so little defense, no matter what Messi does. At some point, you're going to have a 1-0 or 2-0 game. And I just think they're going to have to rely on their back line more than they're ready to.
Again, the Vancouver disrespect remains. LAFC would have to go through Vancouver to make it to MLS Cup. Listen, you could say what you want about how hot Sun is and how hot Boanga are. This is still an LAFC team that for large stretches of the season underwhelmed. And it's still an LAFC team that in past editions...
Have they underwhelmed since Son's been there? Because that's the team now. I hear you. The first half, I was like, I'll be honest here. At the beginning of the season,
they didn't look good against Colorado. They didn't look good against Colorado.
Placed a futures bet on LAFC. 3 months into the season, El Primo felt really bad about that bet, but the new LAFC is what I'm going off.
Trust me, if it's the new FC... This because LAFC in general, with Steve Cherundolo, has just always been so Jekyll and Hyde. And if it's a scenario where you're placing all your chips on one player, because that's what you're going off of, how Sung has changed LAFC.
Yes, and the combo with Boanga.
I'm going to place all my chips on Messi. I'm going to place all my chips on historic Messi, on Messi who's changed the game once, twice, 3 times over. Every single time we see him, he's just a difference maker in a playoff setting where they have the benefit of 3 games against Nashville and then going on.
And 3 games against Atlanta last year.
Yeah, well, yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think that's going to happen again. And they're going to come off and face a Cincinnati team or a Columbus team who are going to come off beating the hell out of each other. I think they'll be physically fresher. I'm going to take Miami here. I think the value is good at plus 500, and I just think it makes sense. The best footballer in the league plays for Inter Miami. I've got no problem with that.
It's just a little bit of a role reversal. You've always been the guy to kind of go against Inter Miami, go against Messi.
And what did you always say?
And don't do it. You don't bet against Messi.
Words out of my mouth, Sevy. That was exactly.
I know.
You've always been kind of an Inter Miami,
and you don't bet against them.
LAFC lover, but
he's learned his lesson.
But it's the moment, right, that LAFC has, and we know that when it comes to postseason, it's really of the moment right now. It seems to be more with LAFC collectively
here's the thing,
versus Inter Miami.
We've not seen them have the adversity yet. It's been smooth sailing for LAFC.
So, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is that how you live your life?
Once you get punched in the mouth, that's when you find out who you are. They've not gotten punched in the mouth with Sun. I want to see who they are. I know who Miami is. I like what I see out of them going forward. And I don't think they're as bad defensively as Sev makes it out. I think this team...
Maybe honestly, I'm being prisoner of the moment just off that Nashville game. I'm not exaggerating.
They could have scored 8 on Nashville.
Not in the first half. It should have been 4-0 when Messi scores.
It should always be something with Inter Miami.
20 yards over the bar from 5 feet away.
It should always be something with Inter Miami, yet it's not. You should never have a 30-year-old.
Somebody's going to take advantage of those mistakes. At some point in the playoffs, you're not going to run up against Nashville. You're going to run up against some real quality, and somebody's going to take advantage of the mistakes they make.
You say the same thing about LAFC.
Yeah, but LAFC has 2 studs.
And those 2 studs don't measure Lionel Messi.
I'd take 2 over 1 any day.
So I'll start with the Western Conference first. So now that everything is set, we got San Diego FC taking on Portland Timbers. It's a 3-game series in this round. So at San Diego FC, if they need it, will have the first and third games. Portland will get the second one. Then Minnesota United versus Seattle Sounders. That is going to be an interesting matchup because the Sounders clearly know how and have the core of winning. But Minnesota United, not an easy team to break down. And Minnesota United have 2 home games. Seattle would only get 1. LAFC, Austin FC. LAFC, different gravy right now. But Austin FC have beaten LAFC twice. I know that one of those games didn't have their top players.
Jimmy,
I'm just saying. I'm just giving Austin a little bit of love because I think that they're probably going to lose this one. And then Vancouver FC Dallas which they played each other on the last day of the season. FC Dallas won that one 2-1. Early red card for Vancouver. I like Vancouver in that. Okay, going to the Eastern Conference. We got Philly taking on Chicago.
Wait, before we even get there, can we look at the Western Conference and say, hey, in
Sure.
terms of upset alert,
Okay, go back to the Western Conference. Upset alert.
upset alert, I think Seattle Sounders could be the team that we look at in the conference final.
Okay,
If they get by Minnesota,
I
and
can
they
see that
play
too.
San Diego, which I think will get by Portland, Seattle, Portland, I could
Ooh,
see
that's
Seattle in the
tasty.
final.
That's
Then-
a good semifinal.
Then we see Austin, Vancouver, and LAFC. I think is going to be that conference semifinal. It could go either way, but
Yeah.
I think we're going to see an
And-
LAFC Seattle Sounders conference final.
As a reminder, this is the only round that is a 3-game series. Everything else is a one-off. So whoever the top seed will get that home game. Tones, you in agreement here on the Western Conference?
Yes, I did mine. I've done it all week, and I did it this morning on Morning Footy. San Diego over Portland, Seattle over Minnesota, LAFC and Vancouver coming out of the bottom of the bracket.
Yeah.
LAFC going to the conference final against San Diego, LAFC winning the Western Conference.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
I like that.
That's
I would
how I
maybe
went.
I agree with you though, Chuck. I could see the Sounders
Of all these
maybe
teams,
squeezing past San Diego. All right, let's do Eastern Conference now. Let's flip over. Philadelphia Union taking on the Chicago Fire. Charlotte FC having the 2 home games with the higher seed over NYCFC. Inter Miami hosting Nashville FC, or they'll have 2 home games, and FC Cincinnati Columbus Crew. That is a really tasty one at the end. I think Chicago Fire are going to make life very, very difficult for Philly. And so
I
I'm a
agree.
little worried for the Supporters Shield winners. I think both teams could win each home game, and then that third game back in Philly. This one's going 3 for me. That one's going to be really tight. And then with Philly's luck in playoffs and Open Cups, you just never know how it's going to play out. Charlotte, I think Charlotte will end up getting past NYCFC. I could be wrong on that one. Inter Miami gets past Nashville. And then I'm going to hear your guys' thoughts.
how many
think
games
FC
does that- how many
Cincinnati.
games does it go, Jimmy?
Which one?
Inter Nashville, 2 or 3?
I think it goes 3. I think Nashville will show up in their home game. I think Serge and Mukhtar will be a handful.
Philly, Chicago, how many games?
That's 3 for sure.
Charlotte.
I could see, honestly, I could see all of these matchups going 3 games.
Same.
I could see all 3 of them.
Although Columbus Crew, they've been hampered with injuries at the end. Now, if they
Right.
had a healthy squad, I'd say, okay, Columbus could definitely make a run here, but they've
fair.
been hampered by injuries.
All right, so Tones has already done this multiple times. So Tones, take us
Yep.
through your
I'll
breakdown.
just give you mine. Yeah, I went Philly over Chicago. I also said in 3, although it doesn't matter for the bracket. Charlotte over NYC, Inter Miami, and FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
FC Cincinnati beating Inter Miami to get to the conference final.
Wow.
So you got the
Charlotte
chalk then.
beating. Say again.
I said you got the chalk. Right now you have all the top seeds winning.
Yeah,
until, like,
Charlotte,
for
Charlotte beating the Philadelphia Union to go to the conference final. So FC
Wow.
Cincinnati and FC Cincinnati and
Charlotte.
Charlotte, and I picked FC Cincinnati to go to the final against
Wow.
LAFC, with LAFC winning.
It's hard to poke holes in that too much, but Charlotte FC. What are you seeing in Charlotte
It's never
FC?
going to happen
Tones?
that way. It's
No, of
never
course.
just defensively, and they're hot right now. Think of the run they've been on at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Toklamati's since Ajiman left, Toklamati's been outstanding. Missing BL is a big one for them, but they've had their way. The issue that I had with picking them over the dumb Zaha red card that he took, that he's going to miss the first game of the playoffs. Now that's just a dumb red card to take. So a little bit of an issue there, but I like Dean Smith. Really organized, solid defensively. They got enough in the attack. They're great at home. So at a minimum, if they've got to go 3, they'll play those 2 games at home, and they've been outstanding there. So that's where I went with them.
Yeah, I would say, Chuck, I'll go first on this.
Yeah.
Whoever gets out of the bottom, whoever survives the bottom is going to get to the final of MLS Cup.
Yeah.
So Inter Miami, FC Cincinnati. I mean, Nashville. That's a crazy good Final Four in that bottom half of this bracket. So whoever gets through that, whoever survives that is going to the final for me.
Jimmy, I'm with you. Every single matchup here is a good matchup in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
It really is.
Every single one.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Whoever survives between Inter Miami, Nashville, Cincinnati, Columbus, they'll be in the final.
They'll be in the final against LAFC. I agree with
and
that.
Be in the final against LAFC. That would be.
It's gonna be. It's exciting. Playoffs start this weekend. Game 1. Let's go.
Yeah, Leo Novakovsky. You know, MLS headquarters wants at LAFC versus Miami final. Of course, I do too.
Yeah,
I want an LAFC Miami final.
That would
Give
be
it
sick.
to me.
That would be sick. All right, let's get into our power rankings here. So all of the teams, we talked about all of them now in the playoffs. Which one is our top 5? We're just going to rip through these really quick. Austin FC, not in our top 5. Charlotte, though, I feel like Tones might put them in the top 5, given that he's.
Yeah.
Oh boy, where are we going here?
So Tones has got them 5th. Charlotte. Well, I guess we're debating this. All things considered.
Why don't we go one down?
Okay, fine. We'll go one down. That's true. Okay, we'll start with 1.
LAFC.
I'm going LAFC.
LAFC. We're unanimous there. LAFC is number 1 in the power rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now who's vying for number 2?
I'm gonna go.
If FC Cincinnati or Inter Miami's in 2 or 3.
I think with Messi playing the way he is right now.
Yeah.
He's on a mission right now.
He is on a mission.
Yeah.
All right, Inter Miami number 2.
Miami too.
Decision made. FC Cincinnati is a good shout.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy is that there were was there 7 teams that were 6 points away from each other for the Supporters Shield? Like, it was crazy close at the top of the table. And so you can make obviously a strong argument for all of them. Cincinnati, I just don't feel like it's being talked a lot.
Cincinnati, Vancouver, Charlotte.
Okay,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So let's put FC Cincinnati 3.
We have San Diego out of the top 5.
Yeah, I know. The disrespect.
Well, in terms of quality, I would go Vancouver, San Diego.
I would go Vancouver